call our April 28th, 2015 school board meeting of our regular workshop to order. Good evening to everyone. Glad you're out this evening. We do have a very special treat tonight. We have this evening our students from two of our high schools. We have Donnell Medore from Fort Pierce Central, and we also have our St. Lucie West Centennial High School, who are here to do a presentation. They participated in a contest called Louder Than a Bomb, a spoken word competition at Nova University, Southeastern University, and they are under the direction of Mr. Anthony Maynard, and I don't have Ms. Heather's last name, but Wells, okay. And they have done just a fabulous job as volunteers in our community that have come into our school district and have helped our children who enjoy poetry, the spoken word. So at this time, we will have, I believe Centennial High School will be up first, but before they come up, we are going to have our pledge, our Kids at Hope pledge, as well as our Pledge of Allegiance. And then, as usual, I'm going to ask the board members if we would step down so that we can get a better view. So at this time, would you please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As an adult and treasure hunter, I am committed to search for all the talent, skills, and intelligence that exist in all children and youth. I believe all children are capable of success, no exceptions. At this time, may we have Centennial come up and get ready. Miss Heather, do you need a mic? Miss Heather?
Instagram makes her feel that. Normally the toilet swallows up mother's dinner. Giving it up makes me feel like I'm in control of something I'm not.
To be honest, baby girl, on a scale of 1 to 10, you're a solid 4,125,935. And that's why every time that you step on that scale, it breaks my heart, because no matter what combination of numbers appear, never be able to hold the word.
She packed on a few pounds, and now when she stares into that blurred mirror, she sees the story of 3 extra pizzas at lunch today. That her pant size go up to a 2-digit number, and now she's ashamed that her extra skin hanging over might consider her bigger. That her pear-shaped figure isn't fit for what she cares about.
Listen to me, please. This new trend is driving me crazy. Understand that you're infinitely pretty, and the amount of likes on your photos does not determine your value.
Instagram makes her feel
Pretty. I need the right light to have no flaws, take down foundation to achieve the look of being baked in the sun. Daydreams are filled with looking like them. I'm in no control of being as best as them. Going on Instagram instantly degrades my own self-image and my own self-worth. I am supposed to love me, but how do I love me when I don't even like me?
Masquerade, somebody pass me them shades, because the person standing next to me is not the same person I made. Did my invitation get lost in the mail, or did you change because you were scared of what the crowd might say? Isn't that true, my dear? Because this mask now have me scared of wipe them tears, my dear. I need you stronger than that. You don't hear me because these lights have your soul fucking black.
I remember you started counting likes, and then calories and followers, but I still don't quite follow why you did this, because none of those people count. Neither you nor I like what this new habit has been doing to you.
Leaving alone, the worst irony you can fool on yourself. In this life, I only owe myself one thing, and that is love, and I don't quite understand how to do that. I may be broken, but oh my God, at least I'm still smiling. compare yourself to Beyonce, Taylor Swift, or Ariana Grande. I watched you grow from grace to push anything.
I have bangs on the wall and I see her cross. Somebody help her. She is seeing her own death. She's like that last sip of your McDonald's cup that you're trying to get, sipping that straw over and over again. She looks at herself worthless and then once again, I said, oh Lord.
It's so hard to smile when you are too weak to even lift up your arm to feed yourself. To breathe is a beautiful thing, but lately it's been so hard. I haven't been able to handle myself in so long, and I am so sorry. I keep pushing this on all of you. Instagram defines. Please.
Okay, do we have Mr. Darnell Medor here? Would you please come forward?
This is the first year of Louder Than a Bomb, Florida, and to be honest, my mind is blown. Because I never knew a community like this could exist. One where unity and family could be found in this diversity of poets, and I owe it to you, the people. Even though being hundreds of miles away from my bed, I still feel at home. There are people I've never met or spoken to before, but yet when we communicate with mind-shattering sentences that rhyme, but have been infused with the wisdom and emotions of our past lives, it feels like we've known each other for ages. And I've come to realize that the most beautiful thing on a woman is not her thighs, her breast, a cute smile, and definitely not her hips, but the sound of poetry escaping from her lips, captivating your mind as she leaves you in bliss. I've come to realize that the most brilliant thing that any brother can do is orchestrate words on a page, express himself on a stage to those who never lived his journey but can relate. Hand clapping and finger snapping and that all well known. I was a kid who suffered from being alone. Had family, friends, and a home, but you can understand how bad it gets if I have all that and I still feel alone. That's why it frustrates me, because this might be my first and last year competing in Louder Than a Bomb, Florida. Because the Jason Taylor Foundation has become my foundation on which I stand. Because our coaches are our roots, our teammates are our base, you poets and your poems, the branches, the audience, the leaves, and these are the components of a poem, a tree. I don't know about you, when I'm behind this mic, my stress is relieved. My peace brings me peace. The point is not the point is the poetry, and I hope that's the motto for every poet that I meet. And even when everything is said and done, first place gets the prize and the school strive to aim high. Next time LTAB arrives, that stride don't step. Keep the school that you rep. Make your hand shake and your pencil anxious over the bars that you will break. Because audience, we are poets. We are hippies who get high off haikus, overdose on onomatopoeias like click, clap, boom, and I would gladly fuel my addiction by injecting rhymes into my system, pumping poetic flows into my veins, snow true meanings in my nose, and infuse them with reason till I only in a poem, louder than a bomb, but we are louder with a mic, and I don't need a 9.5 to know that I'm right. I just show what I write, and grip tight my weapon, my pen, and stand tall in this army of artists and freedom writers as we free dumb writers and wage a war so big on the problems of this world, it'll make World War I and II look like a political debate on school lunches that started at 1 but finished at 8. As we massively paint pictures on a God-given canvas, because audience, we are poets.
Darnell? Okay, can we have Darnell back up here quickly, please? As well as Centennial, the Louder Than the Bomb group. And at this time, while they're coming up, I want to recognize the principals of Fort Pierce Central, Mr. Todd Smith. Would you please stand so we can see the principal of Fort Pierce Central? Okay, and also Miss Andrea Popwell, where are you? That's Centennial's principal. Are you here today? Let's give our fine principals a big hand clap here. Now, young people, this is new to us too, right? We want to know why. What does it mean? What does the spoken word mean to you in your life, and being able to have this, this opportunity to do this now? And you're seniors, I think all of you are seniors, right? Okay. You're a senior, and all four of you are seniors. So I heard in your message you said something about this may be my first and last time with the spoken word, so I'm going to start with you. Tell us what it means to you to be a part of this group.
If I could use one word, it'd have to be family. Because spoken word introduced me to a community and just a group of people that I've never met before. But yet, when we've talked, it just feels like I've known them for like forever. And going down there to Fort Lauderdale and speaking to every single person that was in that audience, it's welcoming, it's loving, it's caring, there's no negativity in our group. No matter who we are, no matter what schools we're from, it's just simple unity.
Let's give this young man a hand clap for sharing that. Would someone from Centennial like to represent and tell us what's going on with this, why you're a part of this, and what it means to you? Quickly. Okay.
It's been an amazing experience because it's, like as he said, you don't know the people quite that much, and yet you go there and yet you get to hear everyone's story and how they've been brought around life. And then when you tell your story, it's like they listen, like they actually get to hear you, and you kind of interact. Even though you may not speak to everyone there because there's hundreds of people, but yet you still get a chance to have your voice be heard.
And I believe this is the first year that you participated in the competition in Fort Lauderdale, and we came in Fort Pierce Central. The group came in second place. Tell us how many groups were there. How many groups were there? Yes.
About 32 schools, maybe 33, somewhere in the higher numbers.
And then also, I believe Centennial also came in the finals. And then we have individual competition, right? Where you had someone from your school came in the finals. That was you? Oh, wow, okay. We really don't have time tonight, but if you would come back and give us what caused you to win, or would y'all like to hear that real quick tonight? Okay, okay. So we're gonna ask the rest of you to be seated, and we want you to give, are you okay with that? Yeah, your piece. You came in finals. We want to hear from you.
Okay. Oh, I can.
Okay.
I'm gonna riot till fighter pilots try to silence my bias. Give sight to the blind, form an alliance, and high power to the mind. Cause I'm a rebel with a cause. I got a mouth like Jaws while you revel in the rubble of broken laws, broken locks, charters, thoughts, and gods. A lot of you chickens have been politicking wrong. Sorry, Mom, this is no violin. It's a different instrument from under my skin. I've been sitting with this intent of committing sin, beginning with conquering of the world that I'm in, because our generation grew up in an age captivated by confused rappers, and with no crystal staircase made, I'm climbing these steps of broken ladders, because I'm willing to achieve what I struggled for. I'm last of a dying breed in an attempt to restore faith in humanity from these backdoor candy store high scores and ignorance of the wars. The funny thing is, you live your lucky life, neglecting all the world's corruptions, as if you never heard a thing about all this gang-bang violence and child abductions, but kids are instructed to be more concerned with changing their appearance than changing the world. Until women get making the children and taking the innocence of these little girls, but that's what happens when you grow up faster. You hold someone up to society's standards. No one cares about the beauty of the individual standing right behind the camera. What if the cure for cancer was inside the mind of a dying patient, with the patient's mind trying to sign that he can't afford all of his medication? Faking if you're thinking education hasn't developed the vaccine, but its agent, this nation hesitates to compromise innovations related to patients. And if you're like me, you're probably living on this edge of poverty. Honestly, this economy is a government game of monopoly, and I'm wobbling trying to find my feet so I can beat the street and make ends meet, maybe even get some respect from me before sovereignty cuts down my family tree. Yeah. When I pass the church, I do the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. I know it's a God-given gift to slave over a hot pen and write these lyrics. K-Dot told me to speak on my thoughts of fundamentals with coherence. Marshall gave me a voice. No, God, well, I'm going to make a beautiful education system. They're built in a structure where the studious survive, but those who fail to pass a test or grasp a concept get criticized. Well, how do you expect a kid deprived of textbooks and pencils to arrive at the same answer provided by another student that all these teachers idolize? Today's lesson, did you learn anything about someone other than yourself? How will we teach the kids how to use their paycheck? Sorry, girl. How will we teach the kids how to use their judgment before they start to drink? How will we teach the kids how to wear a condom before they release the seed? Otherwise, I want the world to be in uniform and pay attention to me. Now, don't tell me that I'm famous and don't tell me that I've made it. You can tell me that I'm your favorite MC, because that's my song that you're singing. But I'd be guilty of association from questioning all my affiliations of radio stations playing sensational songs of manipulation. Now, this imagination, that's its own rebellion.
Okay, we will go back up at this time. Later we will hear more about this group and the wonderful people that have taken the time out of their busy lives to come in and help them compete on a broader level. At this time, I would like to remind our audience, if there's any of you that would like to be an unscheduled speaker, please fill out the forms and bring them directly up front. You may pass them to Ms. Harrison, which is over to the left. And I will now mention our vision for our schools. Our vision for St. Lucie County Schools is that in partnership with parents and community, we will become premier centers of knowledge that are organized around students and the work that is provided to them. Our name will be synonymous with the continuous improvement of student achievement and the success of each individual child. Our promise is to move from good to great, focusing on our core business, and that core business being the creation of challenging, engaging, and satisfying work for every child every day. Madam Superintendent, we will now move to our special order of business.
Yes, ma'am. And the first special order of business is additional information regarding our poets. Poetry spoken word recognition, and we'd like to ask Dr. Kevin Perry to please come forward at this time to introduce our group and how we've been operating within St. Lucie County during this first year.
Madam Chair, School Board members, Superintendent Yost, Centennial High School and Fort Pierce Central High School formed poetry clubs and assembled to participate in the Louder Than a Bomb Poetry Slam. The slam was founded in 2001 by young Chicago authors. It is now the largest youth slam in the world. The goal of the slam is to get diverse youth to not only share their stories, but to listen to those of students from other parts of their state that they would otherwise never hear. The high school slam teams present 4 individual poems and 1 group performance piece. Each team competes in 2 preliminary bouts, and 4 teams compete in each bout. The top 16 go on to the semifinals. You've heard the teams tonight from Centennial High School and one of the students that represents the Central High School. They're championed and coached by Becky Davis at Centennial High School and Kelly Adams at Central High School. I'm going to ask that they stand if they're here as I call their names. At Centennial High School, Dustin Snyders. Dustin.
We're going to ask if you hold your applause while we go through everyone. Continue standing, Dustin.
Dustin Kahn, Katie Mitchum, Taylor Ratty, and Renee Shirley were the team that placed 12th in the competition from Centennial High School, and Snyders was also a finalist in the individual round. At Fort Pierce Central High School, they were represented by Taylor Gibbons, Antravius Solin, Katie Thompson, Dorian Bridges, Kyle Scott, Darnell Midor, Alizia Woodard. The team from Central placed 2nd in the state finals. Darnell's poem, the young man that did the individual performance tonight will be used for the background of a national video montage of the entire Poetry Slam. He participated in the final bout of the competition. So I'm going to ask that we celebrate them the way they do it in the poetry world. Congratulations to these wonderful students and their coaches and their principals and teams. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And Ms. Wells and Mr. Maynard, you are the two who brought this to our attention and planted the seed for it to grow amongst our high school students. Could you two please stand while we recognize you this evening as well? Thank you. And perhaps we could all come forward for a quick photo. Would that be acceptable? Why not?
Yes, that's good. That's a good idea.
And while they're moving forward, if any of the parents of these high school students are with us, please stand to be recognized at this time. You know, they all drive, but you know.
And I believe that Ms. Wells and Ms. Hoffman have trophies at this time, if you could bring those forward for the photo. And if our administrators from the two schools could come forward for the photo as well, we would appreciate that. Thank you.
Again, let's celebrate these two wonderful poetry teams.
Congratulations again to our students and our two high schools. As we move forward with our special orders of business, we'll call Dr. Perry forward again, as well as one of our very special guests, Dr. Sam Gaines. If you could come forward at this time as we present the Samuel S. Gaines Essay Contest winners for 2015. And it's great to have you in the house this evening, Dr. Gaines.
Madam Chair, school board members, Mrs. Yost, as part of the district's recognition and celebration of African American History Month, students in grades 3 through 12 were given the opportunity to write an essay that describes an African American person in St. Lucie County who has made a difference in the student's life, and then explain what the person has done to make such an impact. The requirement also states that the person could not be a family member. The essay contest is named for Dr. Samuel S. Gaines, a true educational pioneer, in recognition of his 34-plus years of service to children and dedication to education in St. Lucie County. The essay contest is a wonderful way to help students prepare for the state writing exam, for scholarship applications, and college applications, which all require a written essay. Also joining us tonight is our sponsor for this essay contest. Since its inception, is a Morganti group represented by Mr. Brian Garcia. Mr. Garcia is representing tonight because they provide a nice monetary prize for the students for their writings. Madam Chair, Ms. Yost. We'll start with our elementary category. Ms. Yost. In third place in the elementary category is Laney Keys from Palm Point Elementary School. And in second place in the elementary category, Riley Hortzklau. And I know I said it wrong, Riley. From Palm Point Elementary School. Holtzclaw. And our first place winner in the elementary category is Anna Rose Hillhurst from Palm Point Elementary School. Moving on to middle school, our third place winner from Forest Grove Middle School, Annalise Swanson. In second place from Manatee K-8, Sarah Albee. And in middle school, from Palm Point Elementary School, our first place winner is Artricia Kaluri. Our third place winner in high school could not be with us tonight, Angel Khan, so let's celebrate Angel. And in second place from Lincoln Park Academy, Cheyenne Nixon. And our first place winner in high school category is Adi Aguela from Fort Pierce Central High School. These students all received a monetary donation from our sponsor, Morgani, that will be mailed to them parents. Yeah. They can't write the checks.
Our next order of business focuses on Autism Awareness Month, and Mr. Bill Tomlinson will come forward at this time, please.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Yost, as the month-long celebration for National Autism Awareness Month comes to a close, I would like to ask you to join me in recognizing some of the individuals and some of the activities that brought about the awareness to our community this year. The theme this year for National Autism Awareness Month was awareness, action, acceptance, inclusion, and appreciation. The theme so embodies the work that we do in exceptional ed every day for children. With the rapid growth of the number of children identified with autism, 1 in every 68 births, the importance of community awareness and acceptance is paramount in our work at this time. True awareness and acceptance goes beyond just the school system, but reaches deep into our community. We encourage all of our community partners and friends to collaborate with us continually as we move to full awareness, acceptance, and inclusion. This year again, Westgate K-8 School, led by Principal Robert Cramner and 2 of his wonderful staff, organized the Walk for Autism Speaks. And several of our board members were there that morning. We had a wonderful turnout. Hundreds of individuals came, families, community members, businesses, to support this awareness event and bring community involvement to National Autism Awareness Month. I would especially like to recognize tonight the efforts of Valentina White, Jessica McLaughlin, and Principal Robert Cramner for the work that they did to coordinate the efforts from Westgate K-8 School. I would also like to recognize Kimberly Willis, our program specialist for autism, for the work that she did from here to organize other schools to bring them about in this wonderful event in our community. If I could ask these individuals to come forward, and let me tell you, Mr. Cramner had a previous commitment tonight, so he could not be here, but I believe Ms. Guzman is here from Westgate. If she could come forward at this time, please. The work that these individuals do every year to pull off this event is miraculous. The number of people that come out in support of this and to support our community is unbelievable. Based on the work that Valentina and Jessica did at the school, they've been invited to lobby on Washington, D.C. and to attend a national conference this summer, so we're very proud of their efforts. Also this year, we had a very special event. I was contacted by Karen Kozak from the educational coordinator with the fire district. She proposed an activity which would bring about a collaboration between the school system and our cluster programs for children with autism and the fire district to bring about special awareness to our children about the community and that they live in, and to also experience an opportunity to be with some of the supports that are available in this community in which we live. They did a wonderful fun activity of bringing fire trucks to the schools where we have our cluster programs and worked with the children, the students that attended all of our schools where we have these programs for children with autism. If you would join me in welcoming Karen Kozak from the fire district to the podium at this time. Karen. Karen is going to show just a very brief PowerPoint of some of the pictures from the children that attended and participated.
Before we get started with the PowerPoint, I'd also like to welcome up Peter Villasuso. He was the visionary that really got this whole thing off the ground, and Adam Zuccaro, one of the gentlemen that has worked with us throughout this month and assisting with getting the engine, the fire truck, out to the schools. It's very personal to both of them, and this would not be a success without them. Thank you. Ms. Yost, Chair, Madam, Board, this National Autism Awareness Month, what I have to say is it's been an incredible opportunity as the fire district to work with your schools, the principals, the ESC program directors, and all the staff that has made this possible. It's definitely been a coordinated effort on both ends to bring this together. Looking at those pictures there is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to working with these children. And with these children, what we were able to do is we had the opportunity to work with them one-on-one directly, to provide the opportunity for them to actually come and touch a fire truck, to interact with the firefighters directly in a low stimulating environment that was most productive for them. The response from the children was incredible. We had several kids who would not even interact with the fire truck initially, and within that time of us being there and in the appropriate environment, we actually had them in the back of the fire truck. And the pictures were just a testimony to the smiles and what we were able to reach out to them and accomplish. And on top of that, we also had the opportunity to speak on calling 911 and some basic fire prevention, fire safety messages, which is so important to all kids and even particularly even them as well. So it was an incredible opportunity, and I definitely would like to extend the opportunity for Adam or Pete to speak.
I know myself and Pete, this is very close to us, and this is why we're so involved with the program. We both have sons that are involved in the ESC program and are both on the spectrum. So it's as beneficial for us when we go to these schools and meet with the kids and the teachers. We learn as much as they do. And it's, as Karen said, it's real important that we break the ice with them in a non-emergency setting. So if we do have to go to an emergency where there's somebody on the spectrum, maybe those kids are a little bit more comfortable with us now. So it provides a great service, and I hope we continue this and the bond gets stronger between the fire district and the school board. So I'm looking forward for next year, too.
Karen, we would like to present a plaque to each of you, and I believe there were a couple other people that were involved. We have a plaque for those individuals as well. It's for Karen. Adam. And if we could get you to come around for a photo op, that would be great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Tomlinson, and our community. We greatly appreciate the partnership in our efforts to recognize autism and create an awareness throughout our community. So thank you so much. And Madam Chair, that concludes our special orders of business for this evening.
Thank you, Superintendent. Board members, we now have come to move to our consent agenda. We have the agenda before us, and I would like to entertain a motion at this time to adopt the agenda as presented. So moved by Ms. Hensley and second by Mr. Ingersoll. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Are there any conflicts that any of us need to declare on any of the items that will be coming before us this evening? Hearing none, Madam Superintendent, may we receive your recommendations?
Yes, ma'am. I recommend the board approve a total of 12 consent agenda items beginning with number 4 and ending with number 12 as presented.
Board members, we have received the superintendent's recommendations. Are there any items you wish to comment on, discuss, therefore pull out for separate vote? Okay, hearing none, we have received the recommendations. May I have a motion? So moved by Mr. Ingersoll.
Second.
Second by Ms. Hawley. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? This motion carries 5-0. Superintendent Yost, we now would like to hear the information reports.
You have in front of you informational reports, primarily the financial summaries for our charter schools. There is no consent that is needed at this time, but it is provided as a part of the packet for your information and for our public's review.
Okay, we move to other business. Final orders of expulsion and stipulating findings of fact, conclusions of law, and penalty and final orders for number 523 through 546. Madam Superintendent, may we have your recommendation?
Yes, ma'am. As you stated, the numbers for final orders for expulsion regarding case number 15-007, 15-008, 15-009, and 15-10. I recommend board approval at this time.
Board, we have the recommendation
So
from
moved.
Superintendent. Moved by Ms. Hilson and second by Ms. Hawley. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries 5-0. Madam Superintendent, time for the update.
We have one additional approval to make at this time. I recommend the board approve stipulated findings of fact, conclusions of law and penalty, and final orders for number 523 through 546 as presented.
Board members, you've heard the recommendation. May I have a...
So moved. Second.
So moved by Mr. Ingersoll and second by Ms. Hilson. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay, Superintendent, update.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to generate a spotlight on Fort Pierce Westwood High School. It will be facilitated this evening by Dr. Kevin Perry, and many members of the staff will be involved this evening in the presentation. So Dr. Perry, if you will come forward at this time, as well as introduce the additional presenters as we proceed through our spotlight.
Madam Chair, school board members, and Superintendent Yost, many conversations have centered on the status of Westwood High School. Conversations ensued with administration, students, and staff. After conversations with some of you and some community members, the superintendent requested that we assemble a team to brainstorm enhancements and improvements for Westwood High School. As the team met, we discussed the total picture of Westwood High School. By that, I mean that we discuss not just the facilities, but also what's going on inside the building. Now, the team would love for a total rebuild of the facility, but we know that finances to build a new facility are not on hand. In addition, if they were, we're still 3 to 5 years out. Therefore, the question arises, what can we do immediately to help sustain the positive momentum that Westwood is beginning to see? Again, we knew that aesthetic appeal was not the only solution. We must continue to look at what's going on inside. As we brainstormed and brainstormed and brainstormed, I think you get the picture, we are now able to narrow our focus to the areas that we will present to you, which enhances the appeal that many have spoken about, improves the motivation and pride of the students and staff that occupy the building on a daily basis, and continue to help move the academics forward. Now, while growing up, I remember watching the TV series The A-Team. In that show, John Hannibal Smith said, "I love it when a plan comes together." Well, tonight, I love it when the pieces come together. Joining me tonight to help put the pieces together is a group of outstanding educators who participated in the robust discussion that led to this presentation. We will begin with Mrs. Baxter, the dynamic principal at Westwood High School. She will be followed by Dr. Helen Weil, who will be discussing our continued partnerships. Ms. Carrie Patrick, talking about curriculum enhancements. Mr. Bajaran will give us our financial constraints, and we'll end with Mr. John Gillette giving us facility recommendations. We hope that by the end of our presentation, you will see how we recommend putting the pieces together to sustain positive momentum at Westwood until a new rebuild can take place. We hope that by putting the pieces together, we will continue to provide a culture of academic excellence tied with a sense of community. Mrs. Baxter.
Good evening,
Madam Chair, board members, and audience members. First of all, I want to take a moment to introduce the administrative team at Fort Pierce Westwood who is assisting with putting all of these pieces together. And I'd like to start with Jim Sloan, or James Sloan, Samantha Piscopo, John Leslie, and Dominic Clayton. And this is our Fort Pierce Westwood administrative team. Yes, thank you. As Dr. Perry mentioned, he talked about the pieces. And so as an administrative team, as a school as a whole, there are several pieces that we have been working on diligently in order to move our students forward. Everything that we do centers around student achievement and how do we move students closer to that achievement. In terms of the focus for this year, we have focused on 4 particular areas: quality planning, quality instruction, student engagement, and community perception. Everything that we do at Fort Pierce Westwood are centered around those 4 things. In addition to moving Westwood forward, we know that structural changes cannot occur without instructional changes. What is occurring within the building? Again, everything centers around student achievement. In addition to those areas, we are working on our agricultural program. And so one of the things that we've done this year, we have been fortunate enough to find 2 new staff members as it relates to ag and vet, both of which are graduates of University of Florida. And because of their efforts, we are getting more visibility as it relates to the agricultural community. In terms of teachers, our teachers have been working extremely hard with collaborative planning, working together as a group to look at standards, be clear about the standards, and make decisions about what those standards look like in a classroom. Because of their efforts, many of our teachers have been tapped on the shoulders by the district to support and assist with moving the entire district forward in terms of what does it look like instructionally. So we're extremely proud of the work that our teachers are doing. As it relates to professional development, our teachers have been working on LBQs. We've started this year that initiative in the English department. We're moving that forward this summer. We have teachers that have already committed themselves to summer training in other content areas: reading, science, social studies. We continue with DBQs. And in terms of the activities that we have going on at Fort Pierce Westwood, as I mentioned earlier, we are becoming more visible in the community. We're increasing our foot traffic at the school due to the activities that we have going on. Our band has made a Superior this year, the first in several years. Our chorus, who we know continue to make strides, again have made a Superior. Our JROTC this year has been competing in competitions outside of our school, outside of our district, and made it to state finals this year. Because of the work that the ROTC teachers have done, we have also been able to host our own competitions on our campus. And this has allowed for us to bring people from our neighboring districts as far as Broward County and north of us, Martin, Brevard County. So because of the things that are happening at Fort Pierce Westwood, I am excited about the direction that we are going. And please know that we are continuing to move forward in order to achieve the ultimate goal, which is an increase in student achievement.
Can we ask a question from Ms. Baxter?
Certainly.
Ms. Baxter, you mentioned 4 areas that you're really focusing on Westwood, and I got the last 2. I think it was student engagement and community involvement.
Community perception.
Perception.
The other 2 were quality planning and quality instruction.
Thank you, Ms. Baxter.
You're welcome.
Good evening. Ms. Baxter highlighted the agricultural program briefly, and I would like to emphasize that a little bit more. Agritechnology is actually agricultural studies as well as natural resources, land management, and we forget that it also emphasizes the use of technology, 21st century technology in the field, quite literally in the field. And we're really excited about the agritechnology. Ba-dum-bump, nobody laughed. I saw you got that. Next slide. The agritechnology and the veterinary science program are really working very closely together now with the two dynamic teachers that Ms. Baxter mentioned. And through some strategic scheduling with the administrative team, we have dramatically increased enrollment in the program. The first-year course that now serves as the first-year course for both programs has an enrollment now of 120 students. And those students will then be able to select which of the two pathways they will continue through. And some students may actually do both programs. What's really important to remember is that both of these programs do lead to industry certifications for the students for employment in the field, as well as college credit. They lead to articulation credit, both with Indian River State College and St. Petersburg College. So we wanted everyone to remember that those are very high-level programs with an emphasis on technology. And we're very excited to announce tonight that we have established a new partnership with Embry-Riddle University. We already have one existing very strong partnership at Fort Pierce Central, and we have now added a new partnership through the agritechnology program in unmanned aerial vehicles, drones, more commonly known. And this program is very exciting because we are one of very few districts that will be utilizing this new curriculum. Through this partnership, we will be provided with curriculum, with summer training for both teachers, and all the equipment needed to implement this. So great enhancement to the program. We're very excited. And so we're really happy to announce that. Also, we have had dual enrollment and advanced placement at Fort Pierce Westwood through the MOA program for a long time. But now we have established those opportunities on the main campus. This year we added dual enrollment on the main campus, and that is going to expand for next year. So we're very excited about that. And we are also working to form a new cohort of students that will do dual enrollment at the Kite and the Brown Centers, very high-tech programs in emerging technologies. So a lot is happening at Fort Pierce Westwood High School. Thank you.
So in the area of curriculum and instruction, let me start with the why. Why as educators do we do what we do to support the students and our community? Well, the why is because we are preparing our children for an exciting career, either in the world of work or at college, so they can start new studies. How do we do this? We use the quality instruction framework, and we design lessons that are innovative, that are engaging, that are rigorous for our children, and we utilize our quality instruction framework in St. Lucie County to ensure that we are doing the very best possible within our classrooms. What do we utilize in order to support this? We use traditional resources as well as an increased use of blended resources such as Infinity and some purely digital resources for both delivery and for access to content. Access, that's why I'm here this evening, because St. Lucie Public Schools is embarking upon a new learning innovation initiative that is Access Now. Access to content. And Fort Pierce Westwood High School is one of two high schools that will be piloting Access Now for the coming school year. This is an initiative that is about access to the content. While we'll provide every single student with a laptop to access the content, that is a tool. That is not the whole gist of this program. It is an exciting program because of the 24/7 access, and the focus that students will have will be on personalized learning. The knowledge of each individual student with ready access to a wide array of personalization tools will help maximize their individual learning goals. The foundation of St. Lucie Public Schools teaching and learning lies within the framework of quality instruction. This is to support the mastery of learning for our students and making sure, again, that we have a digital as well as traditional access to resources. It is based on the premise that personalization approach to learning will give students a voice and a choice in their learning, and this will help prepare them for college and the world of work. The personalized learning is realized through project-based approach to curriculum design. This design will take into account students' ability to learn anywhere and anytime in a blended learning environment that will leverage the access they have through this initiative, Access Now. Expectations: students will engage in quality lessons, experience growth toward their personal learning, and take responsibility for digital citizenry, as well as enhance their ability to critically think and analyze. What type of opportunities will this provide our students at Fort Pierce Westwood and beyond, just like Infinity and beyond? Learning innovation isn't about the latest gadget or the latest app online. It's not about how adept a student is at using a smartphone or the latest internet media. It is about how to access content through technological tools that can empower them to become who they want to be, who we need them to be, and what kind of students are going to be inquiring and solving to begin to be a part of the future solution to improve, to help, and to build our society. This initiative has been built upon many of the things that we currently have in place, but we know we need so much more, and so we've been aggressive in looking for grants to help provide the digital tools that we will need, to help provide the professional development that we will need to make this a success, and to provide the personnel that we will need to make this a successful venture. And so we have secured some grants, as well as looked at how to be responsible with the use of our own capital dollars to make this happen.
Next slide, please. Good evening. So one of the questions that's always asked is, well, why not just replace the school? And we're going to talk about the facility, the recommended facility renovations after this, because the real issue is we just don't have the financial resources to rebuild Fort Pierce Westwood. I know the school board is well aware of this, but more for the community, the legislature caps the amount of capital outlay funds that the school district can generate each year. Back in 2008 or 9, the legislature modified the funding statute, and effectively we are now at 75% of what we used to be able to generate in revenues for capital outlay funds. The decreases in the property values was a double hit on us, and so we just don't have the resources needed to replace a high school. We're using $75 million as a ballpark cost for a dirt to completion new high school. Fort Pierce Central was somewhere around that cost. And this slide shows that if we were to borrow the funds to build a $75 million school, and I've got 3 columns here with a more aggressive payback at 10 years, a 15-year payback, or a 20-year payback, because there's been some comments recently about paying down our mortgages more quickly. But you can see that the annual principal and interest on a 10-year payback is almost $9 million a year. In the previous capital outlay workshops that we've had, we're struggling right now without this additional burden to fund the technology and buses and school maintenance and all of the ongoing facility needs, painting of schools, all those types of things. So even if we had the capacity to borrow $75 million, we don't have the ability to pay it back without additional revenue. So what kind of additional revenue do we have that we might be able to access? And really the only option is, it's a general obligation bond. It's something that requires voter approval. We already have the half-cent sales tax. We've already talked to other agencies about trying to help us out, and really it always comes back to, you're going to have to do it on your own community, St. Lucie County. The state's not going to help. We've had some interest from some other agencies, but they've really, nobody's bringing money to the table. And can you go back one slide? I'm sorry. What this shows is what the millage rate would need to be to support the first column at $8,600,000 payment. It's almost half of a mill. And the next column with a $6.3 million debt service payment, 0.36 mils, and the final one, 0.308. So you can see that the impact on the taxpayer would be a lower amount if it was a longer payback, but of course the underlying interest cost would be much greater. The next slide shows the impact using the taxable values that were provided by the property appraiser during this past summer's budget adoption. That would be the impact on the average value home, less homestead exemption of $25,000 with those millage rates. And you can see it's not a big dollar amount, but still, anytime we start talking to the community about raising taxes, the first conversation is usually a negative one. But we do need to talk about that, because if we do want to replace Fort Pierce Westwood, with a central type school, it's going to take some additional revenues, and that's really the only option that we have, unless the legislature comes back and changes the statute to allow us to levy more, and I don't think anybody believes that that will happen. So that's the revenue outlook, or the revenue constraint that we have with the school. So understanding that, the last time we talked about Westwood, we did have some recommendations, but there were a lot of conversations toward the end of that presentation about why are we going to put $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million into Westwood when it's a 38-year-old school and we all know it needs to be replaced. This is why that revenue constraint is why we're looking at other options right now, because we really don't have the ultimate solution available to us yet. So with that understanding, John's ready now to talk about some recommendations to improve the campus at Westwood, things that could be done this summer in anticipation of 15-16. Any questions? Thank you.
Good evening, all. I'm glad everybody's dry. I wasn't so dry when I got here, but I'm doing better now. Last year, the Maintenance and Facilities Department underwent a strategy of gathering data. We used an architect to come up with data on the structure of the 37-year-old building and find out both short-term and long-term recommendations. We've talked to staff here. We've talked to staff at the schools. We were provided information from a survey about the students and what they thought was important to them. And gathering all this information and putting the best dollar value to work for dollar put in and dollar paid back to us, this is the list that we came up with that would be best used for the short term. Again, buying us time for in the future for the board to decide the time when that school replacement is right, where it should be and what it should be and what it should look like. These are the recommendations that we're putting forward. As you can see, the exterior paint, while it will be a great enhancement, it will also provide weatherproofing and assist in protecting our investment inside. Interior paint in the main hallways will brighten those hallways. New vinyl baseboards in the hallways, the doors. The acoustical ceilings are a mixed match of ceiling tiles from hurricane damage and leaks that were in the past. We feel like that would be a better item to replace and get everything. There's some damaged ones. The bathroom remodels, very similar to what y'all saw us do at Port St. Lucie High School. This was big on the students' list of things to do. Parking lot repair, there's several worn areas. There's a contingency, because once you start tearing into things, then you start finding more that you probably should do while you're there, so there's a contingency involved. Next slide, please. In the auditorium, band, and chorus areas, these are greatly used by the entire school, just about in usage. So this would get a lot of use. The microphone system there is still probably close to the same age as the school was opened. The sound system is in the same way. The lighting system actually was there when the school was open. We were doing a similar lighting system retrofit at St. Lucie West Centennial. The stage curtains are ripped and torn in various areas. A sound booth window will bring it up to newer standards. Right now, in the old days, they would like to close up sound booths and keep that person in a soundproof area, even though they had to adjust sound, and that we find that's not too advantageous. Drainage. Many of you know that the auditorium has had drainage problems in the past. We've tried to alleviate it a few times. The more we raise the floor, the more the water gets higher from the outside because of flooding due to drainage problems. So this would alleviate that problem and make the investment that we put in there safe. Band and chorus room carpet has aged, also acoustical panels to reduce the noise in the hallways. Next slide, please. Landscaping allowance, this would also move into the clearing of underbrush around Panther Lane. There's been quite a few pepper trees growing there. The visual entrance is lacking. New football tower, the tower there that they watch football practice from is old. It was put in by volunteers years ago. There's a guard house that's no longer needed, an old marquee sign that's rusted. The canal that's on the right-of-way, the jurisdiction involved will clear that out to clean it up for us. Small learning community centers, we have built 2 of those now, but maintenance has completed both of those projects. And if you're not familiar, those are placing deans and assistant principals closer to classroom areas instead of having all centralized in one area. We've just completed both of those. Another contingency amount, just again, in case, once you start digging into things, you find more things that could possibly be done. And that would be the subtotal of that would be $1,031,444. And that is what our recommendation is the investment on return that would be best at this time for the school. Any questions there? Okay.
And that's how we recommend putting the pieces together as we continue to try to move the momentum forward and do some structural as well as instructional enhancements to Westwood High School so that they can continue that momentum, Madam Chair. And any team member is available for a question and answer if you need.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Perry. Board members, as you can tell, we have taken a long look at our facility, at the instruction being offered at Fort Pierce Westwood, and attempting to answer the question that our community continually asks. Why can't we replace the facility at Westwood High School? They compare that facility to others within our district. They want comparable facilities for their children if they are enrolled at Westwood. As Mr. Bargeron indicated, resources are unavailable to us at this time financially in order to generate a rebuild at this time. So we started asking students and our community, as well as the stakeholders there, the faculty and staff, where should we focus our attention? I'm smiling because the students really want refurbishing of the restrooms. They see that as a #1 request. Our community constantly points to our facility as a whole, but wants to know about the athletic facilities as compared to other high schools. The comparisons are constant, and we want our community to know that all of us care about the students enrolled at Westwood, and we want their educational program to be first class. And this is a step in that direction. We want the community concern to be addressed. We want our student concerns to be addressed, and we want it to begin immediately. The team that spoke this evening is prepared to do so that by the time students return in the fall, many physical changes will have occurred and many instructional changes will continue, as Mrs. Baxter Barrett indicated. We want to know if this is meeting your needs. Do you have any specific questions this evening of the teammates, of our team members, and their specific areas that were reviewed just a few minutes ago?
And also if you have any comments.
One thing that I would like to share is that, Dr. Wild, you did a great year section. I'm very interested because I didn't know about the drones, so I'm really excited. But one thing I think we failed to do is we don't get out the information, and it's not really our fault, but one of the things I'm asked about constantly is about the different academies in the different high schools. And I know we haven't updated that book. I still give out the old book. And I know the media, we don't really have newspaper reporters. That should be on the front page, these new innovative ideas that are happening. It's actually going to rebrand Westwood, which is what we really have to do. And does the community deserve it? Yes. Do the kids deserve it? Yes. But we have to find a vehicle to get the information out there. And one of the vehicles I think we've ignored every year is graduation. I think every single high school on the back page of the graduation little handout should have the academies of their particular high school. Now, yes, those kids are graduating, but there's younger kids. There's literally thousands and thousands of people that come to our high school graduations. Why aren't we telling our story? We need to talk about this, and if we can't get the media to help us, it should, you know, I'm sure we're going to put this on our website and so forth, but we have to find another way to do this, and one of the ways, to me, it's free, it's cheap. Do it at graduation and dedicate. The high school principals should take pride in putting their academies and their accomplishments right there in people's hands, and it's something I think that we should be doing at every graduation. So I would just offer that, because these are incredible directions that we're going, and yet sometimes I feel like nobody really knows. People on the street ask me questions. I'll say, don't you know about MOA? Don't you know about Embry-Riddle? People know a little bit about ACES. They know a little bit about IB, but we're still, without the help of our media, we're having to do this on our own, and these are too good of ideas to waste. As far as the refurbishment, I don't see as though we have a choice. I mean, it just does give messages to kids in the community that they're not as important to us as the kids are in Port St. Lucie or at Fort Pierce Central. And I don't think we can have mixed messages. It's too important. The other thing, some of the things at Westwood are safety, health and safety factors with kids. So thank you. Thank you, Go Team.
Any more comments or questions from the board? Okay.
I know we're talking about that people don't know. I will tell you that people out of our area know. University of Florida knows what's going on with Fort Pierce Westwood. Our extension advisory group years ago asked for a liaison with the vet tech and the University of Florida's vet science. We have that now. And Dr. Lloyd has asked for input on how to build a stronger liaison with Fort Pierce Westwood's program. They also are very well aware of the opportunities for enhanced pathways for kids in the Brigger Ag program. And we will be working diligently on enhancing those and building those relationships, because that is something that people outside the area know we have that's unique to our school. So I think we need to talk about what's going on internally within our community, but it's also very gratifying to know that entities outside of our community recognize the great opportunities at Westwood.
Okay, also I wanted to mention one of the ways that Westwood has been doing community perception. Mrs. Baxter and her team has had people who hold key positions in the community come in as speakers. And those individuals are going back out into the community with a different perception. And I want to say, Ms. Baxter, your students have been just exceptional with every single speaker that have come in. So this year, we've done it all year long, and the students have heard from many different people from different aspects of the community. But what is really surprising in it all is that the community people that are coming in have a whole new perception when they leave out of Westwood, and then they go and spread that word and say, let's get involved more and let's be a part of the process. The kids are exceptional, wonderful children, and so I know that that's a way that we're bringing community perception by bringing them into the school, and also student engagement, because they've been very engaged in the speakers. Thank you, Ms. Baxter, and your team also for helping us with that process.
Great, so thank you. In the words of Buzz Lightyear, infinity and beyond, and we are moving in that direction for Fort Pierce Westwood. And in keeping with our district mission, the motto of every child, each child, every day. Each child is important to us, no exceptions, and we will move forward in that respect. My final comment is a reminder to board members that we have an executive session immediately following the board meeting tonight.
Thank you, Superintendent Yost, and thank you for the team that did the presentation regarding Westwood High. Attorney Harrell, do we have any? Okay. Board members, we begin with our updates, and I would like to begin with Ms. Hawley.
It's just one quick reminder for our community, and that is that this Saturday is the big literacy and reading event at the Met Stadium from 10 to 2. So please come, bring books to share, bring children to read, bring children to listen, bring yourself, bring your charge card, be ready to buy some books and share all the good words. This is just one of the phenomenal events that we put on, and several of our folks are in the audience tonight. But be there. There's all kinds of things to do. It will be a great way to spend some time with your family and with your friends. So while I'm on that line, I want to thank the Reading Council for all they've done. Every year, they just put on great events for our community and our families, and so thank you for what you do.
And Board Member Harley, one of my favorites of the Reading Festival is that there are authors there from all over. And so you get to meet the authors of many of these books. And I've always enjoyed doing that year after year, that part, because that's phenomenal how you have recruited, the Reading Council has recruited so many authors throughout this community and abroad. And that's my favorite part.
Well, I'll add on to that, Dr. Mills. With my brand new granddaughter, it's going to be a personal mission of mine this year to visit each and every one of those authors and get books autographed to her. So, thank you.
Okay. All right, Ms. Hensley.
I gave each of you an invitation to an event for Jack Roberts. I think you've heard from our superintendent regarding this. Mr. Roberts was a longtime employee of the district. He retired quite some time ago. An artist, he was very heavily involved with our media centers and beginning of the TV station and live coverage of election results, a variety of things. And he is quite the artist. And so he is very unwell. And it was decided that there needed to be some community event that would showcase his work and pay tribute to his contributions to our community, which was for many, many years and actually is still ongoing. So you have that, you can put it on your calendar. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and you'll get to see some very unusual artwork that may be different than what you expect that Mr. Roberts has traditionally done.
Thank you, Ms. Hensley. Ms. Hilson?
Congratulations to Fairlawn Elementary and Fort Pierce Central for Odyssey of the Mind. That is an incredible undertaking for both these schools, and it's a lot of work for the kids and a lot of work for the sponsors.
Okay. Okay, no report here. So at this...
I think that maybe it needs to be announced that the School Board Association has had I think the same executive director for 40-something years. He retired in January. Our new one is Andrea Messina. We know her. We've worked with her. She used to be a school board member from Charlotte County and has been heavily involved with development of school board members within the state. And she has accepted the position. The contract is being put together as we speak. Thank you. Mm-hmm. She came here, yeah.
And also, I believe that now that when you mentioned her, we do have a new police chief, Fort Pierce Police Chief, and someone give me her name. We don't have it? Well, it's her, and she starts very soon, but we do have a new police chief. I'm sure we can all find out the name later. No further report. So at this time, we will bid our viewing, well, no, we don't have to do that because we have no scheduled speakers to come before us this evening. So since we have none, we will end with the reminder of our St. Lucie County mission statement. The mission of St. Lucie County Schools is to ensure that all students graduate from safe and caring schools, equipped with the knowledge, skills, and the desire to succeed. A gentle reminder again to the board that there will be an executive session directly after the meeting, and we look forward to seeing all of you at our next board meeting, which will be held May 12th, 2015. Good night to all, and we are adjourned.